Hello, everybody. Welcome to CallCore Conversations. Today, as you can see, we are in our new studio. Took about 3 weeks of desperation and trying to figure out how to interior design. I'm good at a lot of things. Interior design is not one of them. Today, we have Jason Watkins with All American Financial Services. Jason, you are now episode 5. We had people from kind of all kinds of different verticals. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your company, kind of what you guys do.
Sure. Jason Watkins. I live in Southwest Florida. I am a retired U.S. Army veteran. I served 21 years in the Army as a finance specialist, meaning I handled a lot of the government's money, so your tax dollars. And I was not the one to waste all your tax dollars. I like to conserve them and spend your money responsibly. I did a lot of different things throughout my career, but my passion was, while I was in the military, was helping soldiers succeed, not just in the military, but in life. I want to set them up for education, for better career choices after they got out of the military. I want to take care of them as far as finances as well. A, so they didn't lose their security clearance, but B, so they had a better financial strategy after they got out of the military. A lot of young kids join the military and they make more money than they ever did before, and they don't have any idea what to do with the money. So they buy a car and they do their 4-year enlistment and walk away with nothing. So that was my goal. To set them up for something else after they got out. So after retiring, I was looking for something else. And being that I liked helping people, I found a couple of different companies that I'm consultants with. So I help people get out of debt. But my main objective with my business is to help businesses by giving them time and money back. So I have a variety of different strategies and services that I offer to save money for businesses. Some of the services that I have are worldwide, and some are just here in the United States. But if you're sick and tired of where you're at with your business, let's have a talk, and I'll see if and how I can save you the time and money that we're looking for.
Awesome. I know that you mentioned that. First of all, thank you for your service. I think sometimes, especially in today's world, that goes missed, and I want to make sure I take some time to give you your thanks for that. In the financial space, I know our company is slowly scaling, and then it turned into a rocket ship. And one of the things that I promised myself, because I had worked at very large Fortune 500 companies in the past, and one of the biggest things that I saw was egregious spending. And so as I'm kind of scaling this business, we've been very, very, very careful about how and what we spend money on. But for the companies that you've consulted with, what are the top 3 things that you see happen the most at some of these companies regarding their financials?
For the lack of a better term, they can't get out of their own way because they're set in their ways. They know what they do. They have a goal of not really reducing costs, but they want to make more money next year than they did this year, but they don't exactly know how to do that other than sell more, raise your price. Those are not my strategies. My strategies are, let's look at what you have right now and figure out what you're doing. I'll call it incorrectly. One of our specialties is workflow automation. We can automate a lot of the different manual tasks that you're paying someone to sit in front of a computer and type away all day. Mm-hmm. That's wasted money. They're not making you any money. So if I can automate that, then we don't take away that employee. We give that employee back to you. The job still gets done, but now you have that employee's hours to utilize in revenue generating tasks instead of just sitting in front of the computer plugging away. So I want to save you money that way, and give you that time so that you can make more money. Let's
Yeah.
be more efficient.
Yeah,
That's number
we
one.
have our consulting arm of our business, and we kind of we're more on the call center or lead generation side of things. And the number one thing that we see in most of these companies is that there's a lot of old, inundated processes, a lot of extra, to your point, a lot of extra employees doing, 3 or 4 people that could do the job of one if it was more efficient. And when people are kind of processing their spending, I think that there's this association that if you're the definition of large employees mean or large company means a lot of revenue and a lot of people. And I personally don't believe that that's the same thing, right? Like you can make a lot of money and have a small team if you're very
Mhm.
efficient. And so it's good that you're kind of covering those things. For the companies that are maybe on the smaller side of things who are looking to start correctly, right? I think that sometimes, and you could probably attest to this, when people come for consulting, they've already been doing it wrong for a large period of time,
Mhm.
and they're now in this quick rush to try to fix it because by the time that they've asked for help, they've probably exhausted any other resources that they probably had. And now they're willing to ask for help. And I think
Mhm.
that the thing that I suggest a lot to people is like, just do it right the first time. I think there's this obsession with I'm a business owner and I need to know what I'm talking about, and it's my job to figure it out. And that's where I think that leads a lot of people wrong. And so for companies that are starting new, what would be the benefit of using a service like yours to not end up in that same rushed scenario?
Well, we can take a look at what your proposed business processes are because we can't fix something that you haven't developed yet. So it can't be an idea. You've at least got to have it on paper. But let's take a look at what you propose. And we are not the company to come in and make you change something. We want to take the business process that you currently have or are in development, and we just want to automate things. If you want to change things as things go along, we can work with you on that as well. But we do this every single day. So we can make suggestions if you have quote unquote no current working business processes. We can make suggestions on how to be more efficient, and then we can build that business process out for you. Do the automation, and what's great about us is that we don't require any money up front, so it's no cost to the client for us to go to work for you, and you don't pay us until after we deliver the automation. We test drive it for you, show you everything we developed, and if you're happy with it, then we start billing you every month to maintain the automation. So it's cost free up until the point where we deliver. So we're not going to hit your budget.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal structure. A lot of our own business structures are built on delivery. We live in a world where everybody's selling something, right? And so it's hard to stand out when you got my LinkedIn is 4,000 unread messages of people trying to sell me something. And like, all I care about is somebody that can deliver. Unfortunately, in a lot of businesses, a lot of people can overpromise and underdeliver. So tying your business to the idea that like you'll pay for it once you deliver is, I think, the best model that you could ever, especially if you're very confident in your services. I'll talk about you a little bit personally. There's a lot of people that are trying to start businesses, scared to take the leap. What made you so confident? You start a new business, you struggle at the beginning. Sometimes it's very quick. Sometimes there's a lot. What are some advice for new business owners on kind of just what the first couple steps are? Where to be confident, where to take the leap, what risks to take and not take. Just some tips for new people that maybe want to start a business.
Sure. There's lots of things out there that you can do for free. You can pay all kinds of money for education. There's a lot of things out there, education wise, that are free. Find a mentor, somebody, they don't have to be in the same industry, but find some other business person that is successful. Pick their brain. Don't just go out there and do it on your own and hope that you're doing it correctly, because as you alluded to previously, you need to do things right from the get-go. So consult with we'll call it a power group, attorney, CPA, advisors, other business professionals. Put all of that together before you ever spend a dollar on creating your LLC and trying to sell me something. Um, because it's really easy to just set up an LLC and go to work. And then you find out when it's tax time, oh, whoops, I should have done an S corp. I'm double paying on my taxes because I'm an LLC. So don't learn the hard way. There's so many people that have done this. They've done it successfully. There's people that have done it unsuccessfully. Learn from other people's mistakes and don't be that person that gets caught with their pants down. And you're just wasting time and money.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that there is, I started at entry level at the company that I'm at now and kind of was able to work my way all the way up to a C-level position, which is rare. And, people ask me regularly, like, how did you do it? And one of them, the biggest things that I offer is like, one, I went into it like I knew nothing. I learned from other people's mistakes. There was no sense of pride for me. And I think that is where a lot of people fail, is that they don't want to go sit down with someone and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And like that pride will kill you every time. I ask a lot of people this same question because I think it's important for people to know that no matter how successful your business is at the time that we're talking, we've talked to very small and very large companies. Everybody always has something that if they could rewind and start over, they would have went in a different direction here or there. If you could talk to yourself right now on day one of the current business, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, kind of just what I said just previously. Know what you're doing before you pull the trigger. Set up your entity correctly. I'm not an expert in business. I was a finance guy. I don't know that any high school, any college taught me how to run a business. It teaches me how to be an employee. And just by chance, as a veteran, I got chosen for a free entrepreneur course at Florida Gulf Coast University. They took a class of veterans and walked them through. You need to figure out what your business is going to do, and we will help you form everything from forming the LLC to doing your website and all of that stuff. Unfortunately, that business, Mother Nature had other plans for me. It was a home watch business, taking care of homes for snowbirds that don't permanently live down here in Southwest Florida. And a couple of years ago, we got hit by Hurricane Ian, and that decimated our local economy, our local population. And at that point, I had to make a decision to close up shop and do something else. But I learned a lot of good things. I learned some things that I shouldn't have done, that I wasted money on and time. So when I formed All American Financial Services, I took those life lessons and tried to not to make those mistakes again. And I constantly look for mentors. I look at my circle, and if I don't want to emulate the closest 5 people in my life, then they probably aren't adding value. I want to be like the closest 5 people in my life. So I try to find good mentors.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, again, it's really hard for people to ask for help and look like they don't know what they're talking about. But if you want to be on the streamlined path to where you're trying to go, skip all the mistakes that somebody else made, right? Somebody's already paid for it. They've already felt the heartache from making the mistake. Nothing better than just hearing them tell you that and taking them at their word. It's important that you also have people that you trust, right? I think you can't. My advice to everybody is always try to find people that give you advice because they want to see you do well. If you're surrounded by people that are willing to give you enough advice to until you're going to get further than them, not the problem. If if uh, if someone benefits greatly financially from telling you to go one way or the other versus they are, to your point, getting paid for your success, always a tough time there. And so I think mentors are extremely important. And sometimes, sometimes you get a mentor and there's a strong chance that you might surpass where your mentor is, right? That doesn't mean that you can't still be close with that person. I think it's supposed to be a partnership. The definition of partnership has changed, I think, drastically. It's, we live in a capitalist country, and that has given us all the benefits of the things that we can have today. And sometimes people see partners as it's just business, it's black and white. That's not the case for my company. It's my own personal problem, but I like genuinely take everybody else's business as like a personal, like it's my own business. And mentally that can be tough sometimes, because when they're struggling, I'm struggling. My business could be super successful, but I'm seeing this person I'm helping out maybe struggle a little bit, and I feel like I need to be up till midnight to help you solve that problem. So if you find people like that, I think life becomes a lot easier. But you also got to beware generally in the space of people that not everybody's good, not everybody's bad. Find people that are willing to work off of models that work for both businesses. When we have so many products and so many departments here, and people ask me like, what's your pricing? It's like, I'll give you my baseline pricing, but my pricing is different for everybody, because if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for me. And then we're not going to I don't want a 2-month quick cash grab relationship. That's not ideal for me. Transparently, I hate selling things. I'd rather just work on the operational side of things. So if I can find 5 to 10 large companies that we can build together, that's the preferred scenario for me. At your company, for the current scale, how many employees currently work for you guys?
Just myself. I have, I hired 1099 folks.
Right.
They don't really work for me. They work for themselves, but we provide the consulting businesses that do the real heavy lifting.
Mhm.
But I've got about 50 1099 folks that work for me presently.
Awesome. So I know that at companies, company culture becomes like a huge topic of conversation. There's companies that are just worried about the business, and the people kind of become a number on a piece of paper, especially at scale. What are some of the ways that you guys really focus on not only accomplishing the job that you're trying to accomplish, but keeping the morale of the team high, keeping it very positive, so people are kind of really dedicated to the work that they're doing?
Well, we have constant contact with our workers. We have a lot of automation in place. We do lots of informational calls with all of our vendors to keep them informed as to what's going on currently, what's coming down the pipe. But I like to make myself accessible. But for me, there are other me's out there. So I can only speak of how I run my business. If I'm talking to you, and I don't care if you're the president of the United States. If I get a bad vibe from you, I don't want to work with you. If you can make me a millionaire tomorrow, but you're hard to work with, and it's got to be your way, I'd rather just not bring that person on board. I want to have a connection. And what we look for, typically, I don't hire people straight out of college. And that's not to say that they're not good, but I want somebody who has some life experiences, because in order for me to help a business, I've got to talk to the business owner. So if you don't have a quote unquote large portfolio of business owner contacts, it's going to be hard for you to succeed. I'm not saying that you can't succeed. I'm saying it's going to be hard. We all, we'll probably agree that cold calling absolutely is horrible. You make 100 calls and you might get one appointment. That's not success. That's not what I want. I want to hire people that have, I don't care, 20 or 30 business associates that are decision makers, because they're not going to slam the door in your face when we try to get a meeting so we can save your business money. And what I stress to people is that I'm not here to sell you anything. I want you to put your checkbook away. I've got lots of different strategies to save your business money, but you don't have to pay me anything. I work on contingency. If I can't find you money or savings or give you back time, there's no charge.
Yeah.
So I just want to get to know businesses, but I bring people on that I have a personal connection with, or somebody that has proven that they have a good work ethic. I'll take a chance on a quote unquote a housewife who has been at home for the last 5 years taking care of their baby. They maybe not don't have a lot of connections, but if they prove to me that, they want to get back in the workforce, but they're willing to put in the work, I'll take a chance on you. Provide you all of the access that you need to succeed, and it's 100% up to them whether they succeed or fail.
Yeah.
But I'll be here to help you if you want to succeed.
Yeah, you said something very important there, regarding how you feel about people. I think this applies not only to the people that work for you, with you, contractors, employees, but also clients, right? Like I am huge on, I respect your team, you respect my team. We're trying to accomplish the same thing. We have turned down multi-million-dollar contracts just because somebody's company owner wanted to scream at my team at the top of their lungs. Like that won't happen. And the same applies for employees and contractors, anybody we're going to bring on board, because at the end of the day, the team has to, the last thing that you want is a bunch of people coming in and clocking in just to collect the paycheck. So if everybody doesn't feel like they're accomplishing something or that they're a part of something bigger, and if the energy of the office is off and everybody, it's a toxic work environment, it's going to be very hard to accomplish any of the goals that you're trying to accomplish. And on the client side, it's just, I don't think that I would never, as much as I like money and profits and margins, that my team is what generates that for me. And so having somebody on the other side that's comes on as a client and then comes off like you owe me something, or you have to give me this and I can treat your team however I want, will never work for me. I think the energy thing you mentioned there is very, very important. In your business, is there a, go ahead, did you have something? Go ahead.
No, I just said 100% agree with you.
Yeah, 100%. In your business, is there a large pool of competitors for the things that you do? And if so, what are some of the reasons that, people would choose your company over some of the larger competitors, things like that?
So I don't, I'm sure they're out there that businesses don't have competition, but I would venture to say it's probably less than 5% of business don't have competition. Of course, we have competition. We do workflow automation. We do accounts payable. We turn your accounts payable department into a revenue stream. We have a tax management system that does all things taxes except for filing your taxes. Basically, we work alongside of your CPA, or in front of your CPA, to save you money on taxes by knowing what's in the tax code and getting you deductions that either they can't do or they're not good at getting, because your CPA can't file anything without paperwork. Yeah. And they're not going out to gather the paperwork. So there's lots of competition in all of those services. But remember, we work on contingency. Most of our competition does not. What I tell people in an interview about our accounts payable department is, yeah, we work on contingency. We're going to be more efficient on how you pay your bills, but we're also going to turn those bills into a new stream of revenue. Now, banks do the same exact thing, and I can't really call them competition, because a lot of the banks that do the accounts payable automation, they actually hire our company to do it for them because we do it better than they do. So they white label it. They say they offer the service, we do it, and they say they offer it. So I can't really call that competition.
Yeah, well, that's the best place to be in, is somebody offering your services as themselves. There's no better way to sell things than someone else referring it for you, I think.
Exactly.
I think when people generally go look for this kind of help, I mean, if I was thinking as myself, my first step is Google, right? I need help with this thing. And generally, the first thing you will see is 4 or 5 advertisements of whatever the largest companies that may do or have the keywords for the things that you say. What's an efficient way to find you guys? Like if they obviously they can go to your website, things like that. Do you guys, I know you're on LinkedIn. Do you have a company LinkedIn? What are some ways people can help kind of get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, I have a company LinkedIn. I have a company Facebook as well. Um, and I've got to be transparent here. I wish I had the perfect scenario for marketing and how people could find me, but I haven't found that yet. I find that marketing is throwing dollars at a wall and hoping something sticks.
I couldn't agree more.
And I'm not about wasting money. Again, that's why I hire people who have those connections. I don't have to advertise. The people that I hire have those connections, and they go to the business owner and give them the 15-second elevator speech on whatever service it is that they feel is most of value to that business. And really that has been the secret sauce for us. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. Is that great? Maybe not. But I want to employ the Chamber of Commerce to get my business out there. So I incentivize them with a revenue share.
Yeah.
So you give me access to whomever, we'll do lunch and learns, we'll do Zoom meetings with them all, tell them who we are and what we do. And if they feel fit to utilize our services, then I reward the Chamber of Commerce with their share of the commissions. And it's commissions that they weren't getting yesterday. So I like to try to work smarter, not harder. I don't want to have to contact the 700 businesses in my local Chamber of Commerce because I don't know who they are. I don't know the right people in all those businesses, but the Chamber of Commerce knows exactly who they are because they get a check every single month to be a member.
Yeah. I think that it just proves kind of where your business stands ethically and morally. You could go do the aggressive cold calling, but you're looking for people that could need your help. And one, that referral process is what I found has made most of our money. I am a very good salesperson. I hate selling things because I think that everybody's just putting on a face to get their product off. And like at the end of the day, 90% of those people can't deliver. So I always employ our clients. Give me a referral, give me a recommendation. Let me go show everybody how you feel about our business. And when we built the referral program, very similarly to you guys, because I think that I don't need you to trust my sales pitch because it's going to sound very similar to other people that do things that we do. Like we're all going to say the same things, a different variation of that. But here's how we deliver, and here's it recommended from somebody that you genuinely do trust. 90% of our business is on referral basis. We do pay commission similarly to what you were just saying. You offer us a referral, we give a percentage of commissions for the lifetime of that client. Because at the end of the day, I'm not looking. One, you brought me something that's very valuable. I think that you should financially benefit from that. There's a ton of business owners that things come across their desk and they just put it kind of in the trash can because it doesn't work for their business. Well, if you have this network of people that all do something different and you're kind of all in the same place, we manage a call center, you manage financial services. We have people right now on board with us that we're managing the call center piece that drastically need help on the financial side of things. So having that in my Rolodex, now I can offer a better product because I have people like you and other people there that I can refer business to. So I think the sales model, business owners are just starting to get tired of it. We're starting to see things like, I'll give you a Nintendo Switch if you take this 30-minute meeting with me. It's like, I do want the Switch, but I don't want the sales pitch. So I think at that point is when I start to feel like you don't value your product anymore, and you're just desperate to get meetings. And it kind of comes off like, I've sold cars in the past. This is the job I hated the most, honestly, because it is what it is. It's I think one of the lower forms of sales, but I just feel like the whole industry, business in general, is really turning into that, and we kind of went a different direction of this referral model. And then I offer like we do for our consulting piece, here's a free audit. Like I'll just go audit it, tell you everything that's wrong, so at least you can see the holes. Like we're offering you something. I don't want you to feel like you're paying for something you're not going to get a return on it. And some of the things we found ways, like we're undercharging for a large majority of the things that we're doing. I'm aware of that. And that's because not every company can afford the same thing, right? And in your point, they get a base, you get a contingency once you've delivered. That's a great model. In our situation, we found ourselves doing consulting services and then realizing that we were handing off these new processes to a team that wasn't prepared to take the new processes. It's like, here's this new thing, you have it. So we started offering these management services for the cost of one employee. You get a full QA team, you get a full operations team, accounting, hiring, training, and people have been really taking advantage of that. And somebody came to me not too long ago. I was like, why are you guys not charging X for this? And it's like, well, because it works for us at this price point. And I know that for the price of one employee, it's a small mom and pop business can afford to now add all of this stuff for the price of one employee. And I don't really care about, you find yourself with these larger companies, especially the ones preparing to sale where they're really juicing revenue, regardless of if there's margins or not. They've made this much revenue, right? And it's like, that's great. I'd love to make $100 million. I don't want to spend $120 million to make $100 million. That is not ideal for me. So our business is really built around margins, optimizations, things that you guys help with. Those management services, I have 4 or 5 of those things. I attach them to one client manager. That person's making 10x their payroll on revenue. That's a win for me. I don't need to make 300 times what the cost is to operate it because it doesn't work long term. How long have you guys been open?
About 2 years.
Awesome.
For my business, the consulting arm has been in business for almost 30 years. Basically, I kind of bought into a franchise type model, and for my own business, utilizing the consulting services. But
awesome.
All American has been in business about 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's perfect that the answer to that was 30, because I find, and I'm sure you see this too, when people are building and delivering processes, people love when a process works so much so that they'll never take a look at it again, and they're just going to try to run the same process forever. But in 30 years, I'm sure you've seen all of the industries change 100 times. The way that something worked 30 years ago doesn't work today.
Yep.
What do you think the biggest change from 30 years ago to now is?
I would like to say technology. It's saved time, but has it really? I'm not sure. We do things so much more efficiently, which tells me that we should have so much more time on our hands than we had 30 years ago. But we don't. We always find something else to do. So I would have to say the way we buy things has most definitely changed. Malls are going away. Everything's bought online. How do you get your stuff? You're not going to the mall and picking it up. You don't even have to leave your house anymore to live. You can have your groceries delivered to your house. You can sit there in your office and never leave the house. So how we buy things, how we pay for things, how we live our lives has entirely changed in the last 30 years. I'd like to say it's for the better. I'm not quite convinced.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I come from a very old school family. Like, I was very sternly raised, and I see a big difference in that nowadays. And there's a respect thing. I think that I'm caught in this weird spot where I'm a younger leader in our space, and so I have people that work under me that are way older than me, and I have people that are younger than me. And I'm trying to balance what that looks like. I imagine it's the same in the businesses that you manage. Do you see any difference in the way businesses are run with younger people versus maybe an older generation?
Oh, 100%. The younger generation is much more tech savvy. The older generation is very against tech. They want to do things the old way. They still whip out the checkbook. They still, no offense to QuickBooks, but that's probably way too technical for some of the older run businesses. It's just not how they did it. They have a ledger. They have a secretary that's cutting checks every day. The boss still signs the checks. So they haven't figured out how to grow. Or maybe they just don't want to grow. They're happy exactly where they're at. They don't want to change anything. That's fine. But I don't know, when I'm walking into your door, quote unquote, walking into your door to have a conversation with you, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your business does. I might have an idea, but I want to get to know your business. I want to know what your pain points are. And if you're that older generation that everything in place, I know that it's not how successful it could be, but you're happy with it, I'm not going to change your mind.
Yeah.
But if you're going to pass it along to the next generation after you decide to retire, maybe we need to set them up for success and take a look at some things and try to make you more efficient, make you spend less money. Because who wants to wake up in the morning and give Uncle Sam more money than they absolutely have to? We just need to get to know what your pain points are and what your goals are.
Mhm.
And then we'll see if and how we can help you.
Yeah. I found when I first started doing consulting on our side, it was from a place of, I realized I was doing it for free. Like I see this hole. Let me just show you how to fix it really quick. And then I was like, I probably should monetize this. But one of the biggest struggles that I've had is trying to explain to people what is wrong in their business without offending them. How do you manage dealing with that, right? These guys have had this process built for a long time, and obviously they're looking for a solution, but maybe it was built by somebody who's a long-term employee. Maybe it was built by the person that you're given to advice from. How do you manage kind of navigating, not coming off offensive, trying to make your point without kind of creating this friction?
Well, it's really about getting to know them, getting to know what their objectives are, taking a look at a diagram of their business processes. And I'm also, and this kind of gets in the way sometimes, I'm also Lean Six Sigma black belt. So I look at inefficiencies. We're not looking for inefficiencies when we're doing automation. We're looking to automate the manual tasks. I don't want to change anything that you're doing. I just want to make you more efficient. Now, along the way, if I see that this 50-step process from A to Z is, 5, 10 of the steps you really just don't need, I'm going to ask you why you're doing this, because I want you to tell me why. I'm not going to tell you that it's inefficient. I'm not going to tell you you don't need it. I want to know the reason behind it, because I don't work in your business every single day. There may be a logical explanation as to why you do things that on the surface I see as non-value added tasks. So I want you to tell me whether you want to keep it, whether you think you can get rid of it. But basically, I want you to convince you that you don't need it, that it's inefficient, that we need to change something. I'm not here to convince you. I'll lead you and have you decide. And if you decide or convince yourself, then I don't have to sell you anything.
Yeah.
You've convinced yourself. You sold yourself.
Smart. I think I had a really bad problem at the beginning. I'm a very straightforward guy, right? Like I am not a fan of beating around the bush. I think it's very, when efficiency is the topic of conversation, I need to get from point A to point B. I don't want to go add 30 more conversations in a whole strategic. So I found myself at the beginning being very straightforward. Like this could be better, this could be better, this could be better. And that did not work well. I think it was very, so I think we've turned to somewhat similarly more of the model. And what I learned actually, if I want to take a step back a little bit, was that once they started explaining some of those things to me, the reason it was there made a little bit more sense. It was tied to stuff that I hadn't seen. And that is what I found was tying us to this friction, is like, well, you don't even know that this is tied to this and you're trying to give me advice. So taking that step back and really understanding, I think that's a good thing that could apply to all of life. It's very easy to kind of tell someone they're doing something wrong or say they should be doing it this way. But what we know is what we know about people, and there's 99% of everything else. So, Jason, I appreciate you coming on the show today. We will edit this, put it together. It'll be out this week. I'm happy there was no technical issues with the new studio. We will tag, for everybody watching, Jason's LinkedIn is below, his company's LinkedIn, the Facebook, and the other resources we can attach to the video. Jason, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what would you prefer? LinkedIn, email?
I prefer email. That's
Awesome.
the fastest.
And what's your email?
info@allamericanfinancialservices.com.
Awesome, Jason. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We appreciate it.